And here we go. Not yet. Sorry. Start stream. And we're live now. Hello, everybody.
Hi, hello.
Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so hello, welcome to another episode of the podcast at Delphi.org. I'm your host, Jim McKeith, and joining me up above this time is Craig Chapman.
Hello.
So today we're talking about some of our cool app winners and the cool app contest in general, actually. There you go. So if we look over here, am I pointing in the right direction? I'm confused. Yeah, if we look over here, we have our cool apps. We've been running this now for over a year now, and we have quite a few very, very cool apps that have won. So we're going to take a look at some of the contenders and some of the entries, some of the winners.
Awesome. You have a list to go through, I presume. So I guess I'm comic relief.
Well, you could comment on some of these too. So we just got a whole new batch of new entries. A couple of them are missing graphics. I've emailed them and they're sending updates. This one here, Cargo Optimizer, this looks pretty cool actually. It is a app. I think I have a YouTube video that is used to optimize loading a container pallet or containers cargo in a cargo container.
I need an algorithm that does this. I have a problem with that.
Well, you're going to move, right? Yeah.
Well, that's one of them, but also, so I was talking with my wife about a particular business idea that she might like to run. And it involves shipping items in boxes under a subscription.
There you go.
And so getting the right packing volumes would be fantastic.
So Amazon has something like that for their kitchen program or whatever, where you can order stuff for your kitchen, where it will charge you based on how full the box is, right?
Yeah, I don't want to name the other service that I'm thinking of.
That's fine. But anyway, so this is something to do. But anyway, I think this is cool that they made this iPad app for loading cargo, which is one of those things that, is not near as exciting to us, to most mundane people, I guess. But I think it's actually a pretty creative, pretty cool thing to be able to do. So that's
yeah. Well, I mean, it fits a need, right? I mean, there's so many different applications.
Exactly. Oh, it runs on Android and iOS both, so I think that's pretty cool. So that's one of the brand new ones. Bulletproof FTP server. I've forgotten this one was written in Delphi.
That's been around since the 90s. Yeah.
So that's cool. Let's see. This WinDNA or YDNA is a app to help you find.
Oh. It's pretty cool as well. What was that one next to it? Scroll past.
I don't know.
Keys tracker. Keyboard tracker. Okay. Something else.
Oh, you hope it's going to help you find your keys?
No, I thought that might be the keyboard tracker.
No, yeah. This is a keystroke recorder. I guess you can use it to play back keystrokes, looks like, as well. So.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, auction tracker. I guess that's useful for auctions. Oh, this is like fundraising auctions. Okay, cool. And let's see. This was kind of an interesting one. It's a
cemetery finder plot.
I'm sure. I guess there's a need for that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so just got some brand new ones in here. This one here is for managing like computers in a school, right? So you have.
So it's an asset management.
Well, like it lets you manage desktops. So if you have the teacher, the administrator, classroom monitor, whatever, and then manage computers in real time. So you can see the screen. You can ask the task manager. You can install apps, stuff like that. So it could be like you could use it like a IT help desk type situation as well, but it appears, at least my understanding is, it's designed around, it's remote access support software. For some reason, I was looking at the website, I got the impression it was for like classrooms, but apparently maybe that was the light version and this is the pro version. Anyway.
Like something like that. So I started writing something with this similar intention again back in the 90s. And the only thing, one of the things that mattered to me was actually having a physical layout of where the machines were, because one of the problems was that this network that I was managing was hardwired only. There was no allowance for wireless networking. So you had to manage at the patch panel, you had to manage which network socket belongs to which computer, where it was in the building, so that if you ever moved that computer you could repatch it. And you also had to manage, the patch panel was very, really mattered because the phones were not IP phones, and if you plugged an IP phone into a network socket, you burnt it out, or vice versa, the other. And so you had to make sure everything went in the right socket every time. And I ended up managing it on laminated cards that I would reprint and relaminate every time I had to change the network. But a piece of software to go out and find all the computers and let me, place them on a map, and then be able to log in and install software and do all of these admin tasks.
Well, now I'm thinking this would be an option for like the beacon fence software we have, right? So you could install, get a little Bluetooth. Yes. You can get these Bluetooth LE micro USB dongles, micro USB, but little mini USB dongles. They're not mini USBs, they're USBs, but they're tiny, that you can plug into the USB ports on all those computers, which would then give them the ability to triangulate their position with beacons. And so you could put a few beacons right where every computer was as it moved around. Although I have to say, having IP phones and network computers use the same RJ45 connection, but then make it so that if you plug the wrong one, the wrong thing fries it, is a really bad design decision.
It really is. I managed the network. I didn't install it. The phones should have all been on RJ11s or something like that. I mean, you can still use Cat5 on the back, or Cat6. It was Cat5 at the time. But just make them RJ11, or there's several RJ numeric socket sizes.
That's like making your headphone jack, like it plugs into a mains outlet. And you don't know. Oh, is this electricity or sound? I just blew up.
Well, you may have realized the other design decision that was a complete mess there as well, which was if you are going to wire up your phones and your network devices on the same sockets, that's actually not a bad thing if, of the 8 wires in the cable, 4 of them are assigned to networking for the computer and 4 of them are assigned to networking for the phones. Because if you've got dead points on the socket, that's not a problem. Why were the same 4 wires used for the telephone network as for the
that seems weird, but I don't know enough about IP phones, I guess. Maybe that's supposed to be that way. Who knows? Okay.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's just a wiring choice. They could have just wired using the other. So, I mean, in essence, it would be possible using an RJ45 splitter. It would be possible to have the phone and the computer both share the same socket, because one would be on 4 wires and the other would be on the other 4, and you'd never the twain shall meet. But this network was a nightmare. So
that's our current entries. So head out here to community.marketer.com/competitions, or if you go to resources/competitions, you can find it here. And come out here and vote for some of your favorite entries. You can vote once per day. So log in and vote, and we'll see who the new winner is. We do have a list here, and this is not a very elegant looking list, of some of our previous winners. I thought we'd take a look at here. This was our first winner, which we just launched. I'll take you back. We launched the Cool App Contest, so May 2016. That's quite a while ago. And we're like, do we have any entries yet? And we go look, and the very first entry was 1Password, and we're like, everybody's like, wait, I use 1Password. It's written in Delphi. So this was our first winner, 1Password, and 1Password for Windows, I guess specifically. And we did quite a bit of some of the components he uses, and did a little video talking about how it's worked and some of the other things with it.
And the tools as well, including INO Setup, Eureka Login,
Yep.
Final Builder. At least 2 of those are favored tools, and the third one,
Yeah.
of course,
Yep.
I'm aware of.
He also, so Stefan was the guy, he goes by the handle Dutch Dude. He was the developer of Pass-Through for Windows, and he developed, these are some of the other apps he's were involved on. I knew Top Style was written in Delphi, but I did not know Dreamweaver and Authorware were also written in Delphi. Although I think Dreamweaver got converted to Java at some point, because I know I've ran it recently and terrible, and I remember it being pretty cool, so I'm not into that one.
But I seem to remember it being a Delphi app. So when I first started using Delphi for after college, I'd used Delphi before, both in study and privately, but after college I started using it to write a program called Webfoot, which was a HTML editor. And the idea behind Webfoot was actually to take the complete opposite design strategy to Dreamweaver. But at the time I know that Dreamweaver was Delphi back then, and that would have been 98, I guess, 97, 98. So maybe they changed it shortly after.
Yeah, I don't know. Password implementation in Delphi, which we had a code rage session on that as well, I believe. So this wasn't what they used in one-time password, but just some of the things. Security white paper as well, for just an understanding of how all that security works. That's annoying. Stop appearing. Okay.
Thanks. I want to try and convince you at some point to do a session on token-based authentications.
FrameViz, which is another, like...
FrameForge, so this is the one used for laying out studio sets, right? Right. I don't know about the software we're looking at, but certainly productions made using the software. I know that Downton Abbey is the one I like. Oh, Orphan Black. I loved that show. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. FrameForge, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is absolutely no break, no suspension to your suspension of disbelief. You are in that show. The camera work is amazing, and based on what I've seen of FrameForge, so one of the advertising points of it is that you can see in FrameForge in 3D in advance what the camera is going to see from a given angle, so you can prepare the shots. So yeah, I thoroughly believe that the success of that show owes something to FrameForge as well. I'll put something in the chat window. So on the stream, I know that I'm seeing a delay, but I'm not seeing your desktop on the stream any longer. I'm seeing my face and nothing else. Yeah. But of course, I'm a little bit behind you. I noticed last week when we were trying to resolve a technical problem, I'm saying, well, I still don't see you, and of course I don't because it's delayed. But I'm seeing 3 androids with spears. Ah. So for anyone that can't hear Jim, in case you can't hear him, it looks like he's lost connectivity to his streaming machine. We're just trying to get that back. Have you tried turning it off and turning it? No. Well, are you able to make me full screen? Because I could just share your screen through the Skype window. Ah. All right. I see on your machine something changed, but I don't see it on the stream yet. So I'll give that a second to happen. Still not got you. Say something. Okay, and I'm just waiting for the buffering to, here we go. It's very exciting. I think the stream's coming back. Let's see what we get. Blackness. And I see me, and I see an Android screen with 3 spears. I can hear me. But I still don't see your face or your screen. Do you have to restart the stream on your desktop? There, it looks like it's changing. I know I'm delayed, but I'm still seeing the 3 spears. That's here you are. There, you're back.
I'm back?
You're back.
Yay! I don't have the connection here, but that's okay. That was weird. So apparently, I'm assuming we've been offline for a little bit here. What does the YouTube channel say? They say, hey, where'd you go?
Okay.
Lost connection.
I was just checking that we've got audio on you as well. We do.
So it would appear one of my what are they called? The port on my hub went out, or just need my Mac. It could be that, or it could be that I just need to unplug the cable from my Mac and plug it back in again. Yeah, I don't know. I have a official Apple dongle that connects my MacBook to the Ethernet, because they don't have Ethernet ports on laptops anymore, or Ethernet jacks on laptops anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway,
I just before the podcast, I was watching a video with Uncle Bob presenting, and he was talking.
I was thinking of somebody else, Uncle Rob. Anyway, go ahead.
Uncle Bob. I was watching him, and he was talking about how software is everywhere and programming rules the world and all that good fun stuff.
Right.
And it seems that somebody that wrote the software either for your Mac's network interface or for your router, your hub, somebody put a comma in the wrong place.
That could be. Yeah, I was at this Index conference. Actually, let me bring that up here. IBM Index conference. And they should have a video of my session on here at some point. So that you can watch the keynotes on demand, and then they're going to have all the breakout sessions on demand eventually as well, on their YouTube channel.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that error message was. Yep, right there. There's my session for exploring the brain-computer interface from the conference. So you can go out there and check it out. But there was a session I watched on IoT and security that was pretty interesting, talking about just as we have all these more connected devices, what some of the security concerns around that.
Right.
And they're talking about they found a vulnerability that would allow a remote hacker to take control of a 747.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it's $1 million per plane and takes a year's worth of time to deploy a fix to a 747 in the software.
That's just scary, isn't it? I mean, I know that hackers have demonstrated hacking into a car through its radio and stuff like that, Bluetooth pairing to it, and
yeah,
just scary stuff. And when I think IoT and security, I do think of that as an oxymoron today. Because, IoT and security don't really go together in now. I'm sure it'll get better, but right now, it's not good.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so let me jump around here. We lost some time playing with my network, apparently. Earmaster's kind of cool one here. This one is a it's used, so they had a desktop, a Windows app and a Mac app for years, and this is the Android or the iPad version. Mm-hmm. And what it is, it's music theory, I guess, is the correct term. And I'm not a musical person, so maybe if you want to engage with your son, you could check this app out. Right. As far as learning how to sing better. But it uses, it has things like it gives you a note, and then asks you to sing that note back, and it tells you how you do as far as being able to match the pitch of the note. It gives you like intervals, and you have to do interval training and stuff like that. So it's music theory. It teaches all sorts of different things around, how to do that sort of thing. And I don't know enough about music, although I did try this, and I am notoriously tone deaf, which isn't actually a thing, but I'll say it anyway. It did help.
Awesome.
My wife was actually like, "Wow, if that can help you, that could probably help real people too."
Your wife thinks of you as not a real person.
Well, just not someone that has any potential of actually having musical talent. In my family, I have no musical talent growing up. Everybody else in my family, tons of musical talent.
Well, that's
I'm the technical person.
That's a real irony for me, because I never did. I was never known for music. I once tried out for choir and didn't get in, which I'm kind of glad I didn't. But I never had any musical proclivity at all. But joining my wife's family, when I do sing nursery rhymes and things to my son, my wife will describe me as being the only one in the family with any musical potential, because her family just don't sing. Apparently, that's as my wife tells it. Other members of her family may disagree. But.
Yeah, so he had I want to say he has like 90% code share between 97% of the code between all the platforms is shared with this, and he is using TMS's ICL to have a full set of native components. Although it's not completely native, some of them are FireMonkey, but a lot of them are native as well. So he does a mix of owner-drawn FireMonkey controls and native Cocoa Touch controls on here.
Right. That's incredible that you've got 97% code share. I'm not doing my usual bit of boasting the product that my employer sells. That really is unique. I don't know of another product that can do that.
No, yeah, and I've looked at some of the ones that try to do that, and they don't do that.
They don't do that.
Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna jump down here to the bottom here. This one's kind of cool, not from a technical point of view, but from a human interest point of view, we'll say. Okay. This was a some middle school girls, I want to say. I don't see their age on here. But there's a picture of them. And they created this app, the Hunger Obesity Prevention app.
Uh-huh.
And so they were in their school. They were supposed to do create a business or something like that for school. And the school's like, hey, here's all these online classes to learn development. And they were getting really frustrated with it because all of it was like wasn't very intuitive, and it was a lot of work to actually get anything done. And I'm guessing, if I understand correctly, one of their fathers introduced them to Delphi and said, hey, take a look at this. And they're like, wow, I can actually do stuff. And they were really thrilled. And so they made an app that you can use to track your calorie consumption, and then and do like some BMI calculations and stuff as well. But then what they added is that you can then take you take your current calorie consumption and your ideal calorie consumption, and then the calories you didn't consume, you take that money and donate it to, I think, UNICEF as a way to help feed the hungry. So it prevents obesity and then redirects those calories to the hungry, which I thought was kind of cool.
I'm waiting for version 2 because preventing obesity, this app came too late for me. I'm waiting for the one that helps you diet now.
Helps you diet, yeah.
But no, that's actually a really a great model.
Yep. So here's they have the app. They're running it on their Android device here, and they're saying they actually were teaching other kids Delphi at their school because the other kids are like, "Wow, this is cool. We can actually, build real apps and put them on phones and
Well, here's a question for you then. How do we know, or could we find out, how did they get their hands on Delphi? Was it purchased for them by their school? Was it academically licensed? What was the deal there?
I think, like I said, I think it was one of the girls' fathers.
Right.
If I remember correctly, because I think that's how he ended up emailing with about their win. So.
Because I would love to get it in front of more kids, because so one of the nice things about Delphi is while the compiler is capable of doing any level of professional software development you like, it's also great for people that have never written code before because of the drag and drop nature of everything.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. So we do have Starter Edition, which doesn't have mobile, but we also have the some academic programs as well.
We do have academic programs, yeah.
And I can tell you that there is a lot of cool stuff we're working on. So definitely stay tuned to that because there's some exciting things happening in the future here. Yep. I hope.
And I know that I can't talk about the things that you're alluding to as well, but there's some exciting stuff coming.
It is really exciting, and that it's something that's really important. It's one of the things that shifted with IDERA is IDERA has a real big focus on this idea of free tools. If you go to the idera.com site, they have all these free tools, and the idea is to give people some cool tools, and they get using them and say, wow, these are useful. I want what the paid tools look like. And so we moved Starter Edition, used to be, what was it, $100, now it's free. And we also have a big push on academic programs. And so those are some huge directions we have going on with since the IDERA buyout. So hopefully you'll see some more exciting stuff in that direction.
It's a big ship. It sometimes takes a little while to get the steering right, but the steering is happening. So.
Yes. So this one's where's the video? Is this it? Here it is. Okay, that was the wrong link. This one's really cool. Have you seen this one, Craig?
GPU powered. Yes, I did see this. The GPU powered rendering, artist rendering.
Yep. So it's designed around Eastern ink painting, which the big brushes, and they're very wet, and you have this flow, and it's for Windows tablets, and it uses the GPU to do the effects you see here. But the other thing that's cool, and I don't know if I'll try and find it here, but they have it uses the accelerometer.
Right. So it uses the accelerometer to what? Simulate gravity or something with the ink? Or?
Yeah, exactly. I don't see that. I was going to try and jump to it. But the idea is that if you take the tablet and you paint on it, oh yeah, right here, see, look, you can tip the tablet and change the way the ink flows on the page.
I can see why it's called a cool app. That's really cool.
So it has different types of brushes, different types of ink, and different types of paper that you can use. And then, of course, you can also adjust the gravity of it as well if your tablet has accelerometer support. They, if I remember correctly, they actually this engine has been licensed by some other, and I can't remember if I can say who it was specifically. If I remember, I don't know that I remember exactly, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say. But some other big-time paint programs have licensed their engine to use in their other applications as well.
Right. And actually, I'll tell you what I'd love to see with this. So this, the fluid dynamics looks like it's simulating water, so very water-based ink. If you just did a little bit more viscosity, you could have a Bob Ross simulator. You could paint some happy little trees.
Happy little trees, yeah. Certainly. Anyway, it's very, very cool Delphi application there.
Yeah, I like some of those textures. They're all, when they say GPU accelerated, it's not just GPU accelerated. It's the GPU is also being used to do shaders and texturing, right? So you get sort of canvas textures and that kind of stuff for the ink to flow over.
Oh, this is the one I was thinking of. This one is just kind of interesting. This is InfoTrain. This is one of our recent winners. Mm-hmm. It is for what's the term for people that
nerds?
Train spotters.
Train
spotters or rail fans. And so, yeah, nerds. Which I'm a nerd of a different type, I guess. But it's used for people that want to track different types of trains and share information with, oh, hey, I saw this locomotive. I do know what locomotives are. I used to work for a company that made locomotives. But that was a real big deal. What's the difference between a locomotive and a train? But we'll go there another time. But the idea is...
I can tell you. Will you tell me if I get it right?
Okay.
Okay, so the locomotive is actually the engine, and the train is when it's got carriages attached.
Right.
A lot of people also use the word battery when they actually mean cell.
Exactly. Yeah. The locomotive is the what we call the engine. Although the locomotive has an engine, the engine is what drives the locomotive, mm-hmm. and the locomotive is what pulls the train.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, that was one of my first jobs. I worked in a warehouse at a large locomotive manufacturer based in Idaho.
Right. I am going to stop interrupting you because I realise that we are about 15 minutes from the top of the hour, and I'm afraid I have a hard finish.
Okay. Well, you're fine because that's part of what's interesting here. Let's see. Gosh, there's so many cool ones here. I need to put together some blog posts to show some of the other ones here, and maybe some, like I said, some more videos because we got out of the habit of that. There was another one I was looking for that was another train-related one.
It was the train simulator, wasn't it?
That's the train simulator I was looking for.
I see it on your screen. It's about a third of the way down.
Train Studio, there it is. This is pretty cool. It's a train simulator, and actually it's kind of interesting because what's it called? Wonderland, I think it is. It's that big, huge model railway system in Germany.
In Germany,
sorry.
Yeah.
It's all powered by Delphi as well.
I imagine it would be Wunder Rail.
Yeah, Wunder Rail, yes. So this is a train simulator that lets you build a model train, and it's all written in Delphi. And it has, again, this is like real hardcore model train fan.
So what does this run on?
It's a Windows app.
Okay, I'm going to try and get a copy of this to my dad.
Yeah, DirectX 9.
Yeah, so my dad is, he's always had a passion for, he wanted to build a model railway. He's always been passionate about the idea, but unfortunately he's never lived in a property with sufficient space and had agreement from my mum. So if I could get him a virtual railway, maybe that would help appease his need. Yeah, so
here's one of the models here. And they apparently have this huge community because it does export videos.
Right.
And people are creating models and sharing videos of their models and stuff like that. And this is really, really cool.
Right.
I know there are better 3D effects today, but to make... The thing that impresses me is that it gives you the virtual artifacts of real locomotives and trains and pieces and stuff, that you can build this
Right.
actual model of a model railroad, which is pretty cool.
Do you know,
And
also,
then,
honestly, in terms of modelling, there's nothing wrong with the models. That, to me, the only thing that I think could be made to look more real would be the texturing. It's lighting and texturing, but it still looks pretty impressive.
yeah, oh yeah, yep, exactly. For what its objective is, I think it's fantastic. Yeah, so they have community produced videos available on YouTube. Their website. I think I went and looked at it. 3D Train Studio. It seems like I can't remember if they had a free tier or it was actually quite affordable. I know that the one that my brain's not working. Let's see.
So there is a standard edition for free, max 3 layers, limited to 150 objects per layer, and then there's the professional version, which is €39.90.
Which that is a real reasonable price. Yeah,
that's hardly anything at all, is it?
yeah. That gosh, this one here, FrameForge, looks cool. Oh, they do have a few different tiers you can choose from. Like the one that does the actual 3D, where it can do the red, blue, and all the different stereoscopic 3D effects, is much more expensive. But it's not. It's definitely a professional tool, not a hobbyist tool. Okay, we got 10 minutes. So here's the profile scanner, which I've seen before, been around for a while. Let's see. This was a recent one here that was kind of interesting, actually. I see this happen a lot. We see people using Delphi and like, wow, Delphi is so cool. And they're like, I want to make Delphi for X, right? And so then we have things like Smart Mobile Studio that's written in Delphi to bring Delphi-like philosophy to web development with JavaScript. So this one, they wanted to make the ability to build apps for Android on Android.
That is quite interesting.
And they originally were calling it Delphi for Android. I'm like, well, we already have a Delphi for Android, so I don't think you can call it that. So this one, they're actually talking to Arduino here with this as well. But you should come check this out. You can, it's a set of components, and then also let you do a lot of the stuff right there on Android as well. So on the device,
because that is a thing. I'm looking for a replacement laptop right now, and I'm considering the Surface Pro, the later one. And these aren't inexpensive devices, so I have to give it due consideration. But I need something with enough grunt to run Delphi with graphics hardware that supports at least a recent version of OpenGL, DirectX. So I'm looking for a device, but the main use that I would have for it is not programming. If I could get programming on it, so on the Surface, that would be for programming. If I could get a device that I could program on that wasn't an expensive Surface, then that would be potentially an alternative.
Oh, so this is the app right here, the rad Android app where you can do the development on the Android. Speaking about that, I gotta say, having used iPads and lots of other tablets, a good Windows tablet like the Surface Pro is so much more power.
Yeah,
I know Apple is pushing the idea that you don't need a computer if you have an iPad, and it's not true. I know people that have tried it, and it just doesn't. It's close, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the iPad. But my wife, she's running Comedy Sports, which is a nonprofit improv group, and she's like, I'll just use my iPad and do everything on there. And she's finding that more and more there's just so much stuff you just can't do or can't do well on the iPad. So she's using the kids' desktops. Now we're looking at getting her a laptop as well.
Right.
So, yeah, I love tablets. Don't get me wrong. I use tablets a lot. Actually, with my Note, now I have my Note 8 here. I use this. I don't use my tablet near as often now that I have a Note, just because it's almost tablet-like. Sure. What do they call them? Phablets?
Phablets, yeah. I think the main, probably the main reasoning behind that claim is to do with if what you do with your computer is check emails and browse the web, then yeah, tablet's going to be fine for you.
Yep. Yep.
But if you do any productivity work, then yeah, you need something more capable than a tablet. And of course, you can get tablets with keyboards, and you can get productivity apps to a certain degree on them. But that's it's a compromise.
So I got this here, which this is the deck station.
Okay.
For the it works on the Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, and the Note.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a case on it, so it won't fit in there. So I actually have a little extension cable here, so that I can plug into the USB-C port and then plug this into my Note. And what it does is turns your Note into a desktop.
Right.
Is the idea. And so of course I got this to say, hey, what do you need to do with Delphi to use Delphi on this? And it turns out if you have to change. So if you go to the Samsung site, they say it has to be using API version 24 or newer, if I remember correctly. So you have to change by default we use API level 14 for compatibility.
Right.
But if you change it to use API level 24, it'll work. There's some other things you need to do as far as resizability and stuff like that take a little more effort. But what I found with this, and I was just talking to someone the other day that said they've been using this as their main computer, which I found surprising because I was not impressed, unfortunately, with this. I was hoping to be, but a lot of the software, even that's supposed to work, doesn't work great on it, in my opinion. But maybe I'm just the wrong type of user for it.
Okay, so my wife's about to step in here because she's looking for the keys to the car.
Okay, that's fine.
When?
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. There are a lot of cool apps. I will put together a blog post that lists all these, and like I said, I'll doing some videos around all of them as well to make sure we've covered all of them and have them listed on our site. They are certainly very cool apps, and hopefully look to see some of your cool apps on here as well. So if you have something cool you've done with Delphi or aware of something, if you're aware of something that someone else has done, say, hey, submit it as a cool app. We're giving away $500 Amazon gift cards or equivalent. Some places Amazon gift cards aren't available. I've bought people various little things as well, but usually it's an Amazon gift card. That's the easiest to do. So very cool. Thanks to everybody for joining us today, and sorry for the technical problems.
And
yes, all right.
See you next time, Jim.
See you next time. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.